What's going on, everybody? In today's video, we're diving into a situation involving a group of individuals who had a bit too much to drink in an intense encounter with law enforcement that took a sudden and dangerous turn. What started as a seemingly routine check quickly escalated into charges ranging from disorderly conduct to battery on a law enforcement officer. Stick around, because after showing the footage, I'll break down everything you need to know, including the critical lessons we can all learn from situations like this. I'll also share some personal perspectives on why things escalated, what could have gone differently, and how this applies to real-world scenarios beyond just this specific encounter.
How y'all doing today?
Good, you?
Doing well, doing well. Seems like you guys had a lot to drink.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there a reason why you're trying to get into the building? Well, that's not what I heard, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got any evidence?
You guys are staying here?
Yeah.
Do you guys have ID?
Yeah. ID? You want ID?
Yeah.
Here's my ID.
Alright. I was called out here that you guys overly intoxicated.
Overly intoxicated?
Yes.
We're just hanging out.
Apparently you guys are trying to get into the building.
Dude.
Do me a favor, stand back. Stay back over there. Stay back. I'm not gonna tell you again. Stand back. I'm asking you nicely to stand back, please. You really gonna want to make this into a bigger issue? Please stand back. Stand back. I'm not gonna tell you again. You guys trying to kick him out?
That guy's here.
Yeah.
I already have enough for disorderly intox. I can take all three of them. Hey, boss, do me a favor. Wait up over there for me. Wait up over there for me. Stand back over there for me.
Sir, over
All right.
there.
Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. I'm telling you to get on the ground now. Get on the ground now. You really want to go through this? Get on the ground now. Get on the ground now. Get on the ground now. I'm going to tell you again. Get on the ground now.
I'm not trying to create problems, buddy. I'm not trying to cause problems, man.
Oh, well, now you got yourself into a big problem.
Was charged with battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting with violence, resisting without violence, disorderly conduct, and disorderly intoxication. He is innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law.
Dang, there's a lot to unpack here. First, let's address how this situation spiraled from a simple interaction to an arrest involving multiple charges. The initial interaction between the officers and the group appeared calm, with the police simply verifying IDs and assessing, the level of intoxication. However, things took a sharp turn when one individual failed to follow instructions and refused to stand back, despite repeated warnings from the officer. One of the primary takeaways here is the importance of compliance during interactions with law enforcement, regardless of the circumstances. Following lawful commands can help de-escalate a situation and prevent it from reaching a point where force becomes necessary. The officer repeatedly asked the individual to stand back, a reasonable request to maintain control of the scene and, ensure safety. And when that request was ignored, the encounter quickly, escalated rapidly, really. It did. And it's important to note that, standing too close to law enforcement during an investigation poses a safety risk, not just for the officers, but for everyone involved. So this is why maintaining a respectful distance and waiting for instructions is crucial. Alcohol often impairs judgment, which was evident in this situation. The individuals involved seemed confused about the severity of the situation, likely due to their intoxication. Emotional regulation becomes even more challenging when alcohol is involved. But it's essential to try to remain calm and cooperative. Had the individuals exercised better self-control and, listen to the officer's instructions, the outcome might have been much differently than what it was. And, many viewers might wonder why the police were so adamant about controlling the group's movements. In chaotic situations, officers need to maintain clear command of the scene to prevent confusion, protect themselves, and ensure public safety. Failure to follow commands can be interpreted as obstruction or even a threat, which is why officers may escalate their response. This highlights the broader principle that even when you feel the situation is unfair or unnecessary, it's, usually better to comply first and dispute later through legal channels. And what could have gone differently, from both sides of the situation. There are lessons to be learned. For the individuals, following simple instructions and demonstrating respect towards the law enforcement would have prevented this entire ordeal. If the dude wouldn't have did what he kept on going into the cop face and stuff, probably that wouldn't have happened. But here's the lesson to be learned on the law enforcement side. Communication plays a vital role in de-escalation. A more empathetic approach might have defused the situation earlier, and that's all that counts, right? And people might say why this matters, beyond the footage, what I'm talking about right now. Well, encounters like this aren't just isolated incidents. They reflect larger issues about public behavior, law enforcement training, and societal attitudes towards authority. Watching this footage, I was reminded of how easily misunderstandings can escalate into legal consequences. Whether it's at a party, a public event, or just a night out, we all have the responsibility to maintain control over our actions and respect those tasked with keeping the peace. As viewers, it's important to consider how we might handle similar situations and learn from the mistakes captured in this footage. Thank you for watching. This was a breakdown and analysis and all that kind of stuff, but situations like these provide valuable lessons on, compliance, communication, and emotional regulation. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you being part of this journey to explore and learn from real-world encounters. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How would you have handled the situation differently, or what would you have handled this situation differently? Or what did you think about the whole situation in the first place? I thought it was a crazy situation, really, I thought it all could have been avoided. But let me know what y'all think. That's pretty interesting to me. like, well, like exactly what could he have done differently to not be in a situation like that, you know? Yep, so leave the comments below and let's keep the conversation going. And we're going to learn together.